What if I told you the things you see as your biggest flaws are actually just clues to your greatest strengths? In this explainer, we're going to dive into a really powerful idea: how to stop fighting against your brain's natural wiring and, instead, start building a life that actually truly fits you. So, let's start with a question that gets right to the heart of it all. I want you to honestly ask yourself, are you a wanderer or are you a traveler? Just think about how you move through your life, your work, your goals. Which one of those really feels like you? Okay, let's break this down. On one side, you have the wanderer. They don't always have a set direction, right? They're pulled towards whatever sparks their interest in the moment. They thrive in flexible spaces. And then you've got the traveler. They know the destination. They've got a map, an itinerary. Their actions are super intentional. They need that structure to really get things done.
And here's where the problem kicks in. Our entire modern world, with its rigid school systems, its 9-to-5 schedules, its 5-year plans, the whole thing is built for travelers. It rewards planning and structure. But what happens if that's just not how you operate? What if you're a wanderer trying to make your way through a world that feels like it wasn't designed for you at all?
Well, that brings us to the first, most crucial step. You've got to understand your own wiring. Think about it. You can't build a house that works for you if you don't even know what your blueprints look like. It all, and I mean all, starts with awareness. Wow. This quote, it just hits you, right? It perfectly captures that feeling of being different, that constant pressure, sometimes from the outside, and let's be honest, a lot of times from the inside, to just fit in. That little voice in your head asking, why can't you just be normal? It's a question that can plant a deep, deep fear that maybe you're just not good enough. And that feeling, it often shows up in some really common ways. See if any of this rings a bell for you. Feeling like you're easily distracted, needing just a little more time to process things, maybe being afraid to ask questions because you don't want to look stupid, forgetting things, leaning on your partner to keep you organized, or just completely blanking out when the pressure is on. Listen, these are not character flaws. They're just signs that your brain might be wired a little differently, and that's okay. So, this is the big shift. The goal isn't to try and rewire your brain. It's to find the right tools for the wiring you already have. And that brings us to our next section, building your personal system. This is all about creating a support structure that works with your mind, not against it.
I absolutely love this quote because it's a complete game changer. Instead of beating yourself up for your flaws, you accept them. You see them. And then you build a system that already expects them to show up. See, the gift isn't being perfect. The gift is knowing you're not and planning for it. That's true genius.
So, what does this look like in the real world? Here are 3 strategies you can use right away. First, externalize everything. Get it out of your head. Your brain isn't a storage locker. It's a creative engine. Use whiteboards, sticky notes, apps, whatever it takes. Second, leverage accountability. Let a partner, a coach, or an assistant be part of your system. And third, use technology. AI, calendar reminders, all these tools can act like an external hard drive for your brain.
Now, if you're going to rely on other people, this next part is absolutely critical. You have to understand the difference between guidance and criticism. Guidance is a tool. It's feedback that's meant to help you improve. But criticism, that's a barrier. It's an attack on who you are. The key is to train yourself to see that feedback not as a personal shot, but just as data, valuable data for improving your system.
And all of this, understanding yourself, building a system, it leads to this incredible emotional shift. It's what we're calling the power of owning it. This is where you move from that constant fog of confusion and self-doubt into a place of real clarity and confidence.
Let's look at this real-life journey. As a teenager, Johnny purposefully failed in school just to fit in. Later, as a young adult, he struggled with addictions. But then, everything changed. He received an autism diagnosis, and instead of hiding from it, he claimed it. He owned it. And by stopping that internal war, he started to find himself.
In this quote, this says it all. The second he stopped being afraid and just owned his identity, the fear started to dissolve. It wasn't about what anyone else thought anymore. For the first time, his own life started to make sense to him. He finally had an explanation, a framework, and suddenly everything became much more clear.
And that right there, that's the formula. It's so simple, but it's incredibly profound. When you own your truth, whatever it is, it gives you clarity. And that clarity, that becomes the solid foundation you can build real, unshakable confidence on.
Okay, so you get your wiring, you're building a system, you're ready to own who you are. Now for the final piece of the puzzle, making it all stick. This is where we talk about creating a contract with yourself.
For a lot of us wanderers, we think agility is our superpower. Being totally flexible. But that can lead to success that feels random and based on luck. The new way of thinking is about structure. It's understanding that discipline and repeatable systems are actually what create predictable success. It's a huge shift from avoiding commitment to stay free, to realizing that real commitment is what creates unstoppable momentum.
And this is how you make that commitment real. I want you to think about this for a second. Writing down your goals is so much more than a to-do list. It is a contract, a sacred promise that you make to yourself, to the universe, call it what you want. As the quote says, it's like a contract between you and God. That's what gives your intention some real weight.
So, I'll leave you with this final thought. Now that you've explored your own wiring and thought about your system, what's next? What is the one thing you need to commit to? What promise are you going to make to yourself right down and turn from a simple idea into your new reality? What will your contract be?